Hi, Ted. It's Richard McBride.
Oh, hi, Richard. How are you
Hey.
doing?
Hi. Not too bad, thanks. I've just completed my. I filed my sexual abuse complaint with Integrity Sport and also the North Van RCMP for something that happened 50 years ago at North Shore Winter Club and Capilano. Hey, I'm just wanting to know, can you confirm that Michael Slipshot was actually fired by SkateCanada?
Was what?
Fired.
Hired?
Fired by Skate.
No.
No?
Where did you hear that?
Oh, interesting. So the word is Michael Slipchuk has been fired from his position for the lack of support in rallying for the Beijing team medals.
What?
Yeah. Huh.
Where did you hear? What is that? An article?
No. It's just it's news from competitions on the East Coast right now.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything like that whatsoever, and pretty sure I would have, but and he's always had big support from the leadership there, so I would find that very surprising. But I mean, who knows? You never know in this world, right?
No. Well, apparently it's been kept very hush. Somehow someone who's not in the loop, me, is sort of getting word of this, and it actually doesn't surprise me because someone like Rob Kohler of Global Athlete has been sort of very supportive about Canada getting that medal, but also he sort of shot himself in the foot because he was also a big proponent for that Figure Skaters for Change and that whole investigation at Champs Arena. And the word on that is that the person interviewed on CTV who was claiming abuse at the Champs Arena actually went to the AGM and apologized to Joanne McLeod. Are you aware of that? Is that true, or?
I don't know. I usually run that evening, so I'm so busy. I don't know what goes on in there. But
Interesting. Yeah.
There was never an investigation. There was never that anything open. There was just something that was in the media, and there was no follow up. So I don't know why people would, if it was true, why wouldn't they follow it up? So that I was surprised with that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if it's funny. I came across. I'm to go into the RCMP Special Victims Unit. It was supposed to be this past month, but it was a bit too difficult and overwhelming. I have to go in and bring all my old show programs and things. So I don't know if you remember Alex Fulton at Capilano Winter Club, and also Richard Gilbert at North Shore Winter Club.
Yeah, he was a pair coach.
Yeah, he was around with Faye Strutt and Wendy Berezowski during all that time. So this was like with Alex, 1976. In fact, you're one of the guest skaters in the program at Capilano Winter Club. Interesting. So I guess you had Alex as a coach also. So there was those two coaches with sexual fondling, and then actually I did have sexual intercourse with Richard Gilbert in grade 8, and then was practicing at North Shore Winter Club, trying to during that time, just because I was very much rejected at home for being possibly gay and trying to navigate all this. And it's interesting that this was also the time with Dennis Coy. And in the same program, 1978, there's Richard Gilbert, and I have a written message from Dennis Coy, keep skating. He was very much a hero. I'm very much aware how flamboyant he was. And then just a short time after, he succumbed to AIDS. So 50 years after, I don't know if you know, I won 2 gold medals at the Winter World Master Games last month.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. The 2 skates were, I was skated with an invisible male partner for one. That it's interesting. You can do solo dance in adults, and you can do synchronized skating with 3 to 16 same-sex skaters, but you can't do the Dutch waltz with a same-sex partner because there's a strength disparity with two men doing the Dutch waltz together. That's the argument still. The ISU adult reps, including Janet Canlon. Why wasn't Janet, the ISU Canadian rep, there?
I don't even know who she is. Janet who?
Janet Calnan. Oh. I was supposed to have a meeting with the ISU reps, Beth Delano, yada, 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 Ville, and they awarded me my medals but refused to speak to me regarding the same-sex issue. The other skate, I did Winnie the Pooh on ice because that's what I look like now, but it was also my homage, deep in the 100-acre, my homage to my 9-year-old self. So I was planning to file this report afterwards. And so I've since come home, and it's been a process to report. So I've done the integrity sport. I have mentioned that I did speak to Shay and Tina about this, and they just patronizingly dismissed it. Sorry to hear about that kind of a thing. But that's not the right process. Actually, Ted, while I have you on the phone, it really, really bothers me that Nikolaj Sorensen has been granted a position on the world team to compete in 2 weeks in Canada. Mm-hmm. Because in the selection criteria, there is at the very bottom and other relevant matters that may be appropriate to decide selection. So in other organizations, unions, corporations, if someone has charges or accusations, they are put on suspension until all of this is resolved. So with SkateCanada clamoring after that Beijing team medal and selecting Nikolaj to compete because he's likely to win a medal, the message is the medals are the most important thing.
No, that's not. No, that's not fair.
That's the optics.
It's an optic. There's billions of people in the world. They all have their own optics. But the reality of OSEC is there's a process there, and they're following the process because get killed with OSEC. So it's not. I mean, whatever it is optically to people, no one can control that. There is a process. I don't always agree with the processes, but they are what they are, and you have to follow them.
True.
They're allowed to do what they're allowed to do, and people will say, well, he shouldn't be because there's this accusation, and they have to go through a process before it's validated. So I'm not justifying it. I'm simply saying I'm not getting caught up on what I feel, what I don't feel. It's just that there are laws and there are rules, and then there are guidelines. It gets softer as you go down the list here.
Do you have a cold? Do you have a cold?
Yeah, a little bit. I've been working overnight doing that. Broadcast. So,
and honestly, there is. If you've seen the World Championship selection criteria, it's this. Oh, and there's other criteria that may be relevant or appropriate to whether the person's on the world team or not. So, in my position, SkateCanada has completely disregarded that last component of criteria. You know what? Because I know at Regional District in Nanaimo, someone is accused of something. They're put on suspension until the investigation is complete.
Yeah, well, I don't know. People, this is a society of pointing fingers. Everybody can point fingers to Alex. I agree with Facebook and all that stuff. I really do. But there are people who abuse it and weaponize it.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if the younger generation is taught at universities. I'm a big fan. I don't know if you know PhD educator, provocateur Camille Paglia. At universities, everyone's trained to be fear of like rape and be poised to accuse anybody of it can ruin a young person's life. Perhaps like in this case, someone is pointing the finger, charging this. I think it's a court case in the US of rape and sport integrity investigation. And I believe, always the person is innocent until proven guilty. However, you know what, with so much going on, to me, as I'm poised, okay, 50 years later, okay, I'm going to tell this story, and it's very, very difficult, I have to tell you, to tell this story as I've been immersed now in Sandy Shores Figure Skating Club and playing Santa Claus at the Christmas show, and I'm one step away from being certified again. I just have to do my first aid. I've stepped away from the club because coming home from the competition in Italy, where I did I did mention that my artistic skate with an invisible male partner, transparent partner, was because of the rules, and the other skate was because of the abuse. The backlash I received coming home, I literally had SkateCanada judges and other skaters who infiltrated my kiss and cry ask that I remove them from my photos or don't post them on social media because they don't want to be associated with me for speaking up. And that's the state of figure skating.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I think it's a state of life.
Well, true. I mean, we've got all these hockey players in London, Ontario. I think it's a problem. And if it's true that the person who tried to, I can easily feel how someone tried to raise their voice to the media, Figure Skaters for Change, and then the pressure, oh, I won't have a career with SkateCanada anymore. I won't have a livelihood. I better apologize to Joanne McLeod, who I know, skaters used to spit in her face.
Mm-hmm.
I was a member of that club for a short time when I was still living in... So maybe the process for speaking out is not very good. And so here we go. So are you willing to make a statement for the RCMP? Please file 24-1665 regarding Capilano Winter Club and North Shore Winter Club in the mid-70s.
What statement would I make?
Well, I don't know. What do you remember? What do you recall from those times?
I skated there. I just skated there. Right. All I did. My mom and dad took me to the rink. I skated. I went home. That was it.
I remember Alex Fulton ferociously screaming at Neil Girodi on a figure session and pushing him and calling him gay slurs and things like that.
I'm really honest to God, Richard, whatever, I feel terrible for whatever you've gone through in your life. Absolutely. I only know what I know in my life.
Okay.
And when I was a kid there, I was always a happy kid there.
Yeah.
Always a happy club. I had no issues whatsoever in any shape or form. That's not to say that there weren't issues, but I had nothing. Good. So I wouldn't make a statement because it would be untrue for me to do that.
Oh, well, I just wondered, It's, well, I guess one of the reasons it's so interesting. We've been in each other's scope for 50 years, Ted. I think there I am as Cat in a Hat, and there's our guest skater. Mm-hmm. So and you've been totally immersed in SkateCanada, and I can see why now. I never really thrived as a coach within the SkateCanada system. I just couldn't put myself, because once I'm fully certified, I'm bound by certain rules and speaking out and all that kind of thing. It really, I think, is a oppressive institution in speaking out about anything wrong in skating. Yes, there is a process, so I'm doing the process and I'm seeing what happens. And given that Alex Fulton and Richard Gilbert, interestingly, there's a newspaper article about him, 2007, Guardian Angel of the Ice. Given that they're both deceased, I'm now pursuing a civil claim against SkateCanada of sexual abuse.
Why SkateCanada?
because both coaches were Canadian Figure Skating Association SkateCanada. Given that the two coaches are deceased, it's the organization that is responsible and be pursuing a civil claim with charges of sexual abuse and compensation against SkateCanada.
Okay, well, you have to do what
you do.
Have to do. I don't get that. I mean, I don't think they would know anything about it, and you're putting them at blame for something that they didn't even know went on. So, but hey, it's so complicated.
Well, wait a minute. So I'm skating at a Canadian Figure Skating Club, Canadian Figure Association Club, now SkateCanada. The coaches are SkateCanada or Canadian Figure Skating Association, both engaged in sexual.
But they were not even. There was no certification in those days. They were not even a member of the organization on those days, so that's not even going to go.
Oh, is that right?
Today might be. They were not members. You didn't have to be a member. They were simply an independent contractor who was hired by the club, not by the association.
Really?
There was no license. There was no coaching courses. There was nothing.
Really? Oh, so interesting. Well, that's a key. Fascinating. So it may more likely be, well, North Shore Winter Club, is that even a thing anymore? No, I don't think so.
No.
Fascinating. Well, interesting to know. That's a key point. I didn't. Yeah, so what is sanctioned by? Like, for example, Icicles 78 sanctioned by.
That would be the club or the show, not the person. No person was sanctioned.
So no,
itself was sanctioned.
So no coach in those days,
no,
had any affiliation with Canadian Figures. They weren't. They must have been members.
No, they were not members.
So I was a member.
Not in those days, and it was I can't remember the year.
Wow.
When the association then establish a coaching arm, that's a different situation. But that was more in maybe the 80s or in the 90s in that area, but not back in the 60s and 70s.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. So then what's the point of me making a report to Integrity Sport Skate Canada?
I don't know.
50 years ago. I don't even know either. Fascinating. Well, there you go. I think there needs to be some kind of a voice, and it might as well be me.
No, do what you But if you have these feelings inside you that you want, you need. I would never say don't do what you want to do. I mean, everybody.
Well, it's been weighing on my mind. I still get the argument through a friend of Eric Bradford, a journalist, Sid Ziegler. Oh yeah. Oh no. You know what. And let's not. Have you seen the new transgender policy? By the way, one final thing. The October 11th ISU transgender policy, which makes provisions for children 10 and under and their hormones their hormone criteria so that they can compete as the opposite sex. Now, my feeling, the standard of care for transgender kids now is hormones 10 and under, breast removal age 14, testicles 17. I feel this is child abuse, and the ISU transgender policy claims non-discrimination, but Calgary, September this year, the ISU adults will still forbid 2 men or 2 women, brothers, sisters, married, to skate the Dutch waltz together on Canadian home ice. So we have a big problem here. In addition to that, so yes. So when the Worlds occur in 2 weeks, the SkateCanada definition of teams will be tossed out for the ISU.
Well, no. First of all, it's ISU rules, so SkateCanada cannot overrule that. It's a World Figure Skating Championship. It's under the auspices of the International Skating Union, not SkateCanada. SkateCanada is only the delivery agent, so they have no input whatsoever in any shape or form legally as to what can and cannot happen on that ice. That is only the International Skating Union.
Well, yes.
Now, having said that, they can do what they want in Canada. They've done that. They have same-sex dance in pairs, so they have taken taken that step. They're one of the few countries, the only country that's actually done that. So, I mean, that's a positive thing. So, but internationally, they have absolutely nothing they can do.
Well, and that's the conversation we've had before. They become the federal regulator in Canada. So that's the Canadian human rights issue that I'm pursuing also.
Yeah, well, that's okay,
and
whatever. But I'm just saying, legally, they have no right to do anything to the international. And in fact, in any sport, Canada would be barred to have any international competition here in the country if they followed that way, because international body wouldn't come to a country that can overrule the international rules, right? So, right or wrong, I'm not making a judgment here. I'm just saying right or wrong. That's the realities of the moment.
Yeah. So I can imagine that the Worlds and the ISU adults are planned somewhat in advance, probably maybe years in advance, who knows. SkateCanada changed the definition of teams, and so what actually should be happening is the Worlds should not be held on Canadian ice because we have our definition of teams and we don't support the ISU.
Yeah, you tend to look at things as the glass half full, and I look at it as or half empty, and I look at it half full. The reason they're doing this is because you can't just come into an office with an opinion and say, change everything because this is the way I feel. One person doesn't do that. So you have to understand internationally, and I work with them a lot, is that it takes time for people to bring a concept and an idea to an international body, of which some people absolutely disagree with, and some people do disagree with. So having said that, the SkateCanada has brought in same-gender teams into their own country while they are promoting.
Yes. Yeah.
While they are promoting and developing that concept within the ISU.
Yep.
If you march into the office and say, you can't come to Canada for the World Championships because you're not doing what we want to do, they're going to say, fine, fuck you.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. So you're going to burn that bridge.
Process of negotiation and education, and that takes time.
Yes. So, for example, the ISU adults are great. I know the criteria is the ISU wants demonstrations that there's no physical disparity. I mean, the ISU Adult Championships are a great venue, a platform to allow same-sex skaters to do the Dutch waltz, to do silver level, to do whatever, to display that kind of thing. However, the problem we have here now, October 11th this past year, the transgender policy allows a same-sex couple to skate together if one of them transitions medically and hormonally, surgically to a woman. It's insanity.
Well,
it's insanity. Look at like that swimmer in the United States. All these men claiming they're women. There's criteria to prove that you're the opposite sex. And they have criteria for children 10 and under. ISU is promoting child abuse. And so when you host the World Championships in 2 weeks with that ISU transgender policy, that is a promotion of child abuse in figure skating. There. Just, you can maybe say that on your streaming.
No, I don't say anything with that. Because
no.
You have your opinion, and a million other people are going to have their opinions.
Yes.
I have to trust, I have to trust, because we don't have a choice in this, is that when there are bodies that have been either elected or appointed or hired or whatever, for legally, in the legal system or in the sports system, that there's a process in which they're following. We don't always agree with the decisions made. I certainly don't always agree with the decisions made. No question, obviously, neither do you. So that's fine. But just because we don't agree with them doesn't mean that they're right in other people's minds and they're wrong in ours, or vice versa. They're right in ours and wrong in others.
Okay.
That is just life. That's just society. That's just the way it is. And you know what? At your age and my age, life is now too short.
Well, we're all
things that we cannot control every day. So you can do what you want to do, but I support that. But I'm just saying, all of this, and I hear you. I've listened to you. I've taken your call.
You've been wonderful.
And
I really appreciate it. Yes, I still can never forget.
It's too stressful because I can't control any of that.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what is right and wrong anymore, because there's so much stuff out there that doesn't make sense to me.
And also, the freedom of expression to actually say something, my last 3 years are I'm the poster boy for retaliation for speaking up. Boy, do I have stories for you.
Well, hey, listen, I support that. I have no problem. Speak up. Go ahead.
Yeah, speak up.
I mean, knock yourself out. You're right. You have the right to do that.
And you know what?
People have the right to say, I don't want to listen to it.
What concerns me is there's this ISU Congress coming up in Vegas in July. I'm sure there's no chance I'll be able to pose a question or make a proposal or ask a voice. My problem is, you said it doesn't matter who brings the same-sex issue to the table. My problem with Caitlin Weaver doing this, it's not a gay issue. It's not a queer issue. It's my kindergarten analogy is Elsa and Anna from Frozen. Grow up skating and dream of going to the Olympics. They will be forbidden to do so because of the ISU same-sex rules. Maybe this is the Frozen 3 film.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish this with one thought for you. Don't think that those rules won't change. They haven't changed right away because you make a phone call. That's not going to happen.
No, of course not.
But don't think that they won't change, because who would have thought they would have changed in our country? They did, and they're working on changing that internationally. So I know that you don't know about all the detail, and neither do I about that. And I know that you probably see the glass half empty. I see it half full. I know what's being talked about, what the efforts are being made. So to say that they're not ever going to do anything would be incorrect, because
why is an Olympian's voice more valid than someone who is a stakeholder? That's certainly not fair. And
why is the Prime Minister's voice more important than a civilian?
Well, a Prime Minister is elected. An Olympian isn't elected, and they just win. So it doesn't make them smarter or more passionate or have a certain experience.
Neither does a Prime Minister. It doesn't make them. They're just elected through popularity, not through intelligence.
So I have a question. So are the Worlds going to be on CBC or CTV, or is that they don't have the contract anymore?
It'd be on CBC this one time. They don't have a year contract. They're just taking this one event. So and to what degree? Could be delayed. It could be from Toronto rather than Montreal. I have no idea.
And it's interesting. I was reliving Barb Underhill, Paul Martini's World Championship win in Los Angeles. I watched a bit of Canadians. Why are there nobody?
Their win was in Ottawa, but anyways, go ahead.
Oh, was it Ottawa? I thought it was Los Angeles. Why is there no spectators in the seats anymore?
That's a big. You know what, Rich? I don't have time to talk. That's $1 million question, and everybody is upset about that, and they're going to be working and changing some things to try to improve that. So but it's not our.
Yeah. I just noticed big where
for sure. Yep.
Spectators.
Yeah. Well, in the United States, they had lots of people, but they charged $25 for the national championships. We didn't. We charged a lot more.
Oh, stop that! Stop it. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Hope you feel better.
Okay. Thanks, Richard. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.